Hello, we're going to take a look at our intervals worksheet. This is intervals 1. We're going to learn about melodic intervals and harmonic intervals. So melodic interval is played one after another. So this would be a melodic interval. And a harmonic interval is played at the same time. So that's harmonic because see, they're both played at the same time. And now once more, this is melodic. Played one after another. And I always think of it like this. The word melodic, like the letter M, you can see one, then another hump. And this one, harmonic, if I think of it like this, my H, it has happened in at the one time. So now let's take a look at the worksheet. The worksheet's going to say the same exact things that I kind of just said. So we have melodic. You see that one happens first, then second. Now, if we look down here, harmonic, these two are both kind of on top of each other, so those happen at the same time. It's easier to see on these ones. They're happening at the same time because they're on top of each other. These happen one after another because they're left to right. Now, if we go down here, the interval between two identical notes is called a unison. So that's a unison because, see, they're both in the same exact place, the same exact note. And then we have an octave, which is 8 notes apart. So how I count them, if you notice here, they count them out, like each note. But for down here, they're asking you which one, for number 1, what's melodic and what's harmonic. So think of harmonic, they're happening at the same time. They're going to be right on top of each other. Melodic, they're going to be left to right. We'll do a couple of them in number 1 together. So the first one, without looking at the answer, we notice that this one's on the bottom and then that one's on the top. So we're going to call that one harmonic because they're happening at the same time. If we hear it, it would sound like this. They're both happening at the same time. Now this one we're going to call melodic because it's one, then another. So I would put a M right underneath there because that one's melodic. Now, if you're like me, I don't have a printer right now. So for number 1, I'd put the first one, H harmonic. The next one we said is melodic. Now let's find out what the third one in number 1 is. That one, then that one. So that means they're not happening at the same time. It would sound like this. So we're going to call that one melodic again. We got you guys started. Let's take a look now at number 2. Number 2 happens because we're counting the distance between notes. That's what an interval is, the measuring the distance between notes. So I will count in between these. So I have 1 on the line, 2 in that little space, 3 on the line, 4 in the space, 5 on the line. So I'd call that one a fifth, just like they write down here. So for number 2, I'd write down fifth on my piece of paper. The next one you can see, we're not moving anywhere. This one to this one, so we call it a unison. N-I-S-O-N. And then let's do this one together. We start at the bottom. 1 on the line. 2, there's a space right above it. 3 is on the line. So I would call that one a third. So that's basically all I do is I'm counting the distance. You start with the 1 on the line. 1 on the line, 2 space, 3 line, 4 space, 5 line, 6 space, 7 line. And I would call that one a seventh. And I can write it down just like that. So I did a few of them for you. Now this is the same idea, except they're on top of each other for number 3. Name the harmonic intervals. So if it's easier for you, you can always write them out and put them next to each other. For me right now, I'm going to count them right as they are. So 1 space, 2 line, 3 space. I would call that one a third. So number 3, I have a third. And then I do the same thing right here. 1 line, 2 space, 3 line, 4 space, 5 line, 6 space, and I'd call that one a sixth. So this one, I need to write the harmonic interval above the given note. So they're asking you to write the note. So for number 4, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my staff. It's kind of already helps. That's pretty much drawn for you. 5 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And my bottom, they're asking for a fifth. So I'm going to put that down. My first line's in the second space. So now it's asking for a fifth above that. So I go 1 space, 2 line, 3 space, 4 line, 5 space. When I get to 5, I put my note right there, and that one's my fifth. My next one's asking for a third, and it starts at the bottom line. So here we go. 1 line, 2 space, 3 line. I put my note right around the line. So that one would be a third. Now for number 5, it says write indicated harmonic interval above the given note. So same thing that we just did again. I don't know why they literally just put the same question. Oh, maybe because it's treble clef. Okay, so number 5. Right here, I'm going to set up my paper. Line, 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 4, and 5. And now it has my third below the line. 1 line, 2 space, 3 line. So put it on the line. My next one's asking for a fifth. And it's on the third line. So I go 1 line, 2 space, 3 line, 4 space, 5 line. I put it right on the line. And I can just keep going with that. If you have any questions, always feel free to call or text, and that should be how we do our interval number 1 worksheet.